Nope, just one.
Okay.
Either or. So whenever you hit execute on any of them, it'll execute them all.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why they bother putting 3 different ones. It'll take a minute, so you'll see it says start, and then it'll say balancing, and then it'll say running, and then you'll see it start to go. It takes like maybe 30 seconds or so.
Going? There it goes.
There you go. So you see your vertical speed is going to reach 3,000. It'll just kind of stop there, and then your altitude's going to keep going until it gets close to 2,000. It's never going to reflect it like dead on. It's going to be slightly off.
Okay.
And that's normal.
But what you're looking for is just like
that it's going
as
up.
close as it can. Okay.
Exactly. Because you have limits. Like if you on checks, it'll say set it to 2,000, and then make sure that on the altimeter it's showing 2,000 plus or minus 20 feet. So you have limits on that, and then you see the baro knob on the altimeter, so it's set to 29.92. That's where you want to set it at for altitude checks, unless it says otherwise, but it's pretty standard that you set it there. The AMM will tell you to set it there as well. If you don't set it there, the altitude's going to be way off, and you won't get accurate readings. It won't reflect the functional test values. So you want to make sure that you have that all set up correctly, and you want to make sure that while that's going up, that your altitude is climbing, your airspeed is climbing, and it's not doing anything weird.
What was our airspeed supposed to be?
Our airspeed is supposed to be 300.
Alright.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you noticed, but that needle was moving a little sluggish. So the little buzzer, it's supposed to vibrate the airspeed, and it helps the needle go smoother. So if you were to tap it, that airspeed.
You want me to tap it?
Yeah. It's probably pretty close now. Yeah, it should be fine. It's not gonna move much anymore, but if you keep tapping it, it'll actually move smoother, and that's what the whole purpose of that is it vibrates it so that needle goes nice and smooth and not just kind of doing some jerky turns. So that's that. So we reached our target, so it'll show ready right there. So if you wanted to do a leak test, you would simply hit leak mode, and now all your pumps come off, and this is the rate at which it's leaking for your altitude, and that's the rate that you're leaking for your pitot.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then there's limits and rates for all of those too?
Exactly.
Okay.
So in your AMM, it'll tell you, after 1 minute, make sure that your rate is, not more than this much. And you can set a timer there. If you hit start, that'll just simply set the timer.
That's cool.
Yeah. You set that, and then after that minute, it'll show you how much it leaked right there.
Dang, this thing's cool.
Yep. So you can go ahead and hit stop, and then I'll hand it over to you, and we'll go down in altitude if you want to switch with him. Okay. So now we're gonna go back to manual mode, and then we're gonna set the altitude to 500. And then our airspeed we're gonna set to 50.
Airspeed is this one.
Yep. And then we'll hit execute.
Execute is right there.
There we go. And it'll take about 30 seconds-ish for it to actually start going down. But same thing, you'll see that rate start to go to 3,000, and then altitude will reach its target. So once we reach our targets, then we're gonna go ahead and hit ground. So what that does, when you hit the ground mode, it'll put it back to atmospheric pressure. So only then can you disconnect, reconnect, or add lines or adapters to it. Because or else you'll get a huge, you don't want this to leak at a really high rate. You can damage the equipment. Any questions so far?
No, that was really straightforward. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's typically pretty easy. Like when you if you look at your leak rate and it's leaking more than it's specified, then you're gonna isolate it, see if it's on the static side or pitot side. Then you gotta, you know, start removing panels and look at the static lines and, you know, track down leaks. That's the difficult part. But it's really not much to it. Once if you have everything set up correctly, pretty easy. And like with these newer air data test systems, it's super easy to do. It's not like old school ones that I've used in the past where you have to have two people, one in here and another one down there at the test set, and they have manual valves that you open. You turn on the pumps manually, you set the rate manually with different knobs. You got like 12 different knobs that you're like turning. So this simplifies it. It makes it easier, quicker. You know, and these have been around for a long time. This is actually our backup air data test set. The other one is actually cooler and it's completely wireless. So there we go. It says ready. Yeah, see how it moved a little bit? Yeah. So that's when you know that that buzzer's not working, and that's something that you want to look for too. Like when you're doing your checks, like make sure that that's smooth. If it's not smooth, that means that it's not working, and it's something you can write up and, you know, replace. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit ground mode, and you'll see that the set point went to 263, so that's going to be our local altitude or atmospheric pressure here. So it'll just go back down to ground, and then that's it. And once that gets to ground, then we'll grab the next two.